Ugandans there, of course, many people have gone through difficulties, challenges. We are coming from a year of lockdown, schools were closed. However, yesterday the president, of course, talked about easing some of this, and the economy will be reopening fully, maybe in about 2 weeks' time. However, people would like to understand, economically, how was the situation? How are we standing? What is the outlook of the country like?
Some of the key things we need to note, talking about, for example, about the macroeconomic indicators, which are very important, which gives you the best view of our economy. One, those that were impacted or affected negatively. One, you're going to look at unemployment. You have over 2.5 million people losing their jobs, and that is actually an estimate, but the number is likely to be higher. Companies closed down as, during the lockdowns, when the economic activity come to a halt, most of the people lost their jobs. We saw over 1.8 million households, being pushed into extreme poverty and vulnerability, and all these are the consequences, of not earning because of these whole lockdowns. Then the other thing you need to look at is that, of course, there was shortage of certain goods and services due to disruption, in the supply chains. And then economic growth itself, economic growth actually reduced to 2.6%. That was in 2020, though it has, tried to bounce back to 3.5% in 2021, and most likely it might go to 5% next year if all goes well. Yeah. So then, when you look at the exchange rate, the Ugandan shilling remained a bit stable, until November, when the US dollar kept on, gaining strength due to its increased demand on the global market.
The economy will fully reopen in about, let's say, 2 weeks' time, because the schools will be reopened on 10th, and then after 2 weeks you have the curfew lifted. What is going to be the effect of this? What is going to be the reaction? Is it going to be quick in terms of the economic recovery?
First of all, as I've said, you still have the pandemic still going on. You have new variants coming in. Now you have Omicron. Good enough, it's not as deadly as Delta, but it is spreading, like wildfire. So it's very hard to anticipate what is going to happen. However, I think as economists right off from the start we said, yes, this is not only a health war or problem, but also an economic war. The economic cost of a lockdown is actually way, way higher. You can be killed by economic, implications even before the health implication. You know what I mean? So, therefore, no matter what happens, the president should go ahead to open the economy fully. At this time, at least, everyone has got an idea. We can, and everyone has accepted we can live, we are going to live with this pandemic. It's not going very soon. So we should look at adjusting, with our way of doing things, open the economy, and be here with pandemic.
Are there opportunities that we should be looking at ahead of all that reopening?
COVID-19 pandemic is just a catalyst that whether you're ready or you haven't seen the change that is going on, you will have to go with it, whether you want or not. This automatically presents a number of opportunities. Talk about e-commerce. You've seen when this whole pandemic came in, everyone is trying to buy things online. You're seeing transactions online. You have digital payment, coming up, online education, agro-processing. People at home are trying to change their nutrition. They are minding about what they eat, among other opportunities.
Of course, talking about the number of people who lost their jobs, do you think people will be able to get back to those who had jobs? These jobs are going to open up, or some are gone forever? And
no, it's going to be hard, because even if the government wanted to track those people who lost jobs, you still have a problem, or we have a challenge of data. You see, when the government was trying to look for the vulnerable people, they didn't have the right data to reach the right person. But most of the jobs may never come back. We have to look at creating more new jobs. And how do you create more new jobs? Start by availing cheap capital. We are saying Ugandans are the most entrepreneurial people in this world, but the challenge is the entrepreneurial environment, starting with expensive capital. the government is competing with you and me and entrepreneurs when it comes to borrowing these resources, because the government is not only borrowing from external sources, but even domestically it is the biggest, borrower. And that's why it's one of the reasons why capital remains expensive in this country.
Thank you very much for speaking to us and putting the issues into perspective.
It's always a pleasure.